Hey guys, Brett here, and today I'm going to show you the very first step in creating your digital product. Now, there are two ways that you can create a digital product. You can create it yourself if you happen to be a software developer, or the other way is you can hire somebody to create it for you. Now, I will be totally honest, the vast majority of marketers are not developers. They do not actually create their own products. They hire other people to make them for them. In fact, a lot of these marketers hire people on a one-time basis. What I mean by that is the people that are doing their product creation for them often are not permanent employees. They're hiring them just to create that one specific product, and they're paying them a flat fee to create the product. Now, this is something that anybody can do, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it right now. So here I am, I'm on Elance. Now, Elance is one of the most popular freelance websites there is, and it's an easy way to hire people at a surprisingly low cost to get a software created. So all you have to do is create an account on Elance. It's 100% free. There are absolutely no fees at all for the people looking to do hiring. There's no posting fee. There's no fee for using the service. There's no escrow fee. The actual service providers, which in this case is the programmers, pay Elance a fee. The people who are looking to get work done never do. Now, I personally create all my own software myself. I do the coding because I have a very intensive coding background. However, most people don't have this, and for those people, Elance really is a great resource. In fact, before I started doing IM and selling my own software, I was actually a freelancer on Elance, and I was hired quite often by marketers to create their software for them. In fact, you can actually see I have 19 unread emails in my inbox, and if you look, you can see I'm being invited to a bunch of jobs. These are all marketers and wanting me to write software for them because they don't know me by my personal name. They know me by my Elance ID, and they want to know if I'm available to do more work. Given that I did so much work on Elance, I know how to use the system very well, and right now I'm going to show you how to create a job on Elance and start accepting bids for your very first project. So to get started, the first thing to do after creating your free account is you click on Post Your Job. Now this is going to ask you for a couple of basic things: the name of your job. You're going to describe your job. Now for this video and this tutorial, I'm actually going to hire somebody to create a WordPress plugin for me. And we're going to let you follow me along so you can see exactly how the process is done from start to end. So let me go ahead and fill in my job details right here. Alright, so I've entered my job name and I've entered my job description. The job description is the most important thing when you put in here. You want to describe what you're looking for as detailed as you possibly can. And the reason for this is most jobs that people bid on are going to be flat rate jobs, meaning you're going to pay the coder a flat rate. They're going to do this and you are going to pay that. In order for the coder to give you an accurate bid, he needs to know the description of the job and what you expect as detailed as possible. When you don't post a detailed job description, what happens is often the coders will post larger bids in order to cover themselves just in case the job turns out to be more than what they had expected. So by posting a detailed job description, you can get the most accurate and often the lowest bid. A couple of things that I always do when I post a job is I let people know right up front that I don't want bids from people that aren't 100% sure that they can complete the project. I also let them know that late delivery is unacceptable. And what I mean by that is when a provider bids on a job, they bid a price, but they also bid a time frame. For example, they might say, I could do this for $300 in 1 week. Well, for me personally, if they're late for that 1 week, if they say they're going to get it done in 7 days and then it takes them 10, that's unacceptable to me. And often I will cancel a job if they're late. What I personally do is I tell people right up front that late delivery is unacceptable. Unless you're able to meet your own deadline, don't bid on my job. The very last thing that I always put in a description is I say, please don't call me sir or hiring manager. My name is Brett. And the reason I do that is because often what happens is people on Elance and people on other freelance sites, they'll pre-type up a general proposal and they'll just paste it into a whole bunch of job requests. And the problem with that is it means they didn't read your description. It means they don't, if you accept them, well, then they'll read your description and hope they can do the job. You don't want that. And in those pre-written up proposals, often they'll say, dear sir, or dear hiring manager, and they do that because they don't know who you are. So when I write a description, I say at the very end, don't call me sir, don't call me hiring manager, my name is Brett. That way, if I'm reading a proposal and I see somebody says, hey, Brett, I read your description, I think I could do your job, well, I know that they really read it because they read that my name is Brett. If I see somebody that says sir or hiring manager, I know from the door they didn't read it because I specifically said not to do that. And if they did read it, they can't follow instructions anyway, in which case I still don't want to hire them. So that's why I put that in there. So after I got my job name and my description, it's going to ask me for the category of work. Now, there are people on Elance that are doing all kinds of work. You can get legal paperwork done, you can get graphics design done, which actually graphics design is one of the things that I hired people a lot for on Elance before I had my own full-time graphics designer. But most likely, if you're creating a digital product to sell in the IM space, what you're getting done is software development. In which case, the category of work that you're looking for is IT and programming. It's going to ask you for a subcategory, and again, 99% of the time, it's going to be web programming, not web design. Web design is something different. Web design is where a graphics designer makes a single graphic that's a mock-up of a program or a mock-up of a website. What you're actually looking for most likely is web programming. And once you select web programming, it's going to then ask you what skills you're looking for. Well, about 95% of all the software that's on the web is done in the PHP language. So you are looking for PHP. I'm going to select PHP. And in this particular case, I am looking for also WordPress and WordPress plugins. And finally, this is a WordPress plugin that I'm looking to get created that uses YouTube, so I'm looking for YouTube. And I want to point out that entering these skills is optional, but the reason you do it is because it makes it more likely that relevant programmers are going to be able to find your job. Okay, so the last two things that you're going to need to set up is how you're going to pay the people and what your budget is. So the first thing you need to decide is if you want to pay hourly or if you want to play flat rate. Now, a lot of people who are new to Elance, who have a limited budget, they think that they're going to pay hourly and they think that's going to be the best deal for them. It's not. The best deal is almost always, 99% of the time, going to be flat rate. And remember, I'm a person who has done hundreds of freelance jobs. I know exactly which ones the freelancer gets the most money out of, and hourly, they end up getting more money almost every time. So the best thing to do if you're looking to get work done on a budget is to do flat rate pricing. Once you select flat rate pricing, it's going to actually ask you what your budget is. You have a couple of options here. The one thing that you do not ever want to do is enter decide later. What decide later means is that the freelancer can add any budget that they want. And whenever they see somebody that says decide later, that's like a big light bulb in your head that says, I can get as much money as possible out of these people, and everybody starts bidding large budgets. So I strongly suggest that you don't enter decide later. You select from one of the budget ranges right here. And when you're selecting your budget range, don't think about what it's going to cost or what you think it's going to cost to get this done, because that's not relevant. Just realistically enter a range on how much you're willing to spend. For example, I know that I should be able to get this plugin done for a couple of $100, but even if I didn't know that, I would still select less than $500 just because I don't want to spend more than $500 on this job. So now that I have my budget range entered, I have everything set up, I'm going to go ahead and click on continue. Now it's going to ask me if I want to feature my post. And it says all these reasons why you need to feature your post. You know, you can send unlimited job invites, you can get up to 30% more proposals, and it's $25 that they charge you to feature a post. Well, I'm going to tell you that's a complete waste of money. Again, I was a freelancer. I've done hundreds of jobs on Elance, and it didn't make a difference to me if a job was featured or not. If I was interested, if my skill set fit it, if the budget was right, I bid on it. If it wasn't, I didn't. Really, featuring a job does not affect the freelancers really at all. This is mostly just a hustle basically for Elance to get some money out of you. So click on no and don't feature your project here. Now I'm going to preview my post, make sure everything's set the way I want it to be, and then I'm going to set post this job. And now what Elance is actually going to do is it's going to take keywords and it's going to take those skill sets that I said I was interested in, and it's going to try to find a couple of freelancers that it thinks are going to match what I need. So here it is. It's found a couple of freelancers for me. I'm just going to click on the invite all. I'm going to invite all of them to come and bid on my job. So now that I've done that, I'll click on I'm done. And that's it. This part is done. My job has been posted, and for now, I'm just going to wait and see what kind of bids I get. Once I start getting bids, we'll continue this video, and I'll show you the next couple of steps. Okay, so it's been a few days since I created my job on Elance, and I've gotten several proposals. It looks like I've gotten 12 total. And now I'm going to go over the proposals and I'm going to see which ones meet my needs and which ones meet my budgets. Now, the first thing you're going to realize is that most of these proposals are going to come from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, countries like that. And the reason being is that US, Australian, and UK workers simply cannot compete with the pricing that these people are able to offer. These people get a huge exchange ratio from the British pound or from the US dollar. And because of that, they're able to work simply for much less money. So I'm looking over the job requests here, and a couple of them really stick out to me. The one that is most appealing to me, though, is actually this one right here. Let me find it. All right, now this one right here, you can actually see this one. And what's good about this one is the guy has a low bid. It's $219.18. That's his bid price. That's his total price. It's inclusive of all Elance fees, so you pay just that amount. You can see he has a perfect 5-star rating, and that's really impressive. It means every single person who has ever rated this guy has rated him perfect 5 stars. You can also see that he hasn't done just a couple of jobs. He's done 95 jobs. You see, if you see somebody that has a 5-star rating and they've only done 2 or 3 or 4 jobs, well, that's not very impressive because anybody can do a really good job a few times. But when you see somebody that has a lot of jobs, for example, this person has 95 jobs and he still has a 5-star rating, now that is impressive because he's proven over and over and over again that he is able to do really good, high quality work. The only thing that I don't particularly like about this guy is his dollar earnings. See, you can see he's actually earned $8,512 in earnings, and that's out of 95 jobs. So that means generally he's only doing jobs that are worth like $70 or $80. So he's doing really small jobs, and this one at 219 at his bid is actually twice the size of the job that he normally does. So that has me a little bit concerned. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to click on his name, and I'm going to see his full profile information. Here I am, I'm looking at his entire profile information, and you can actually see these are his 12-month stats. So what I want to look at now is his lifetime stats. And looking over his lifetime stats, I can actually see that he's been on Elance since March of 2008. He has done 290 jobs. And even at 290 jobs, he still has a 4.9 star rating, which is extremely good. I can see that he has a 93% customer recommendation rating, which is pretty good. And this guy looks like he's a guy that I'm going to want to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back over here and I'm going to select. Now it's going to ask me if I want to, if I'm sure I want to select this guy. I want to confirm everything. Everything is fine the way I want it. The delivery date is going to be September 2nd, which is 1 week away. That is the time frame that this freelancer set for himself. He is guaranteeing me that he will have this work done within 1 week. So I'm going to click on confirm. And the next step is it's going to ask me to fund the job. Now you don't have to fund the job right now. You can fund it later. However, most decent freelancers are not going to start the job unless it's funded. They want to know that there's money sitting in escrow for them, that they're going to be able to get paid after they do the work. So I strongly suggest that you always fund the job right away. It shows the freelancer that you're serious about getting the work done. You're not going to try to screw them over later. So I'm going to go ahead and fund the job quick. And now I've just used my PayPal account to fund the job. The very last thing to do is to send the freelancer a message. And I'm just going to type him a quick message here, letting him know that I've accepted his job, that it has been funded, that I look forward to working with him. And I'm also going to give him my Skype information and let him know that if he has any questions, he should contact me via Skype immediately. That's actually important. You see, in order to get a smooth job done, the freelancer is going to have to be able to ask you any questions that he has. The worst possible thing for a freelancer is that they do the work based on your job description, and then when it's all done, they provide it to you, and you say to them, well, that's not what I meant. That's a horrible thing for a freelancer. It's also a horrible thing for you because it's wasted time, it's caused scope problems. So by giving them your Skype information, you're making it really easy for them to contact you. You're opening up the lines of communication, and you're helping to ensure that the job will get done smoothly, on budget, and on time. All right, so now my message is sent, my job is selected, the escrow has been funded, and at this point there's really nothing for me to do now but wait for the freelancer to begin creating my plugin for me. So once that's done, we'll come back and I will show you how to continue the process. Okay, so I just got notice that the freelancer that I hired has accepted the terms of the job and that the job is now started. And the reason I want to mention this is because I want everybody to be aware that just because a freelancer places a bid and then later down the road you accept the project and post the escrow does not necessarily mean that the job is going to start at that point. And the reason being is if it did automatically just start, it wouldn't be fair to the freelancer, because in the time that he posts the bid and that you've accepted the job, which could be a few days or even a week later, his situation may have changed. He may have gotten other jobs selected. He may no longer be available to do work. So at that point, even though you have selected the freelancer and posted your escrow, the freelancer still has the opportunity to decline the job since his situation may have been changed. Now, in my experience, this almost never happens, but it is something that can happen. Now, I just got notice that the freelancer that I selected has accepted the terms of the job. The escrow has been accepted fully. It's now in Elance's escrow account and ready for me to release to the freelancer once he completes my job correctly. I also got a message from the freelancer where he has given me his Skype information in case I need to contact him. I really like that. Again, it's a sign of professionalism. And he has also asked me a simple question for clarification, which again, I like that. I like that he's asking for clarification. I like that he wants to know exactly what I expect, because that will allow him to create the product as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So at this point, my work is done. All I have to do now is wait a week and be ready for my freelancer to deliver the first version of my software. At that point, I will test it, and if I need some changes, I'll contact him again. But right now, it's done for me, and I just have to wait and do nothing.